All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the weather story for the next month, the entire fall, and yes, even stretching our eyes into winter. We're talking long-range big picture patterns here. Now, let me be real with you. Confidence is always highest in the short term. That's the nature of forecasting. But stick with me, because we're going to take a careful look at sea surface temperatures, teleconnections, and the broader atmospheric setup to try and get a sense of what the months ahead might hold. We did one of these updates about a month ago, and let's just say, the atmosphere has been quietly shifting since then. So today, I want to give you the freshest take, where we stand right now, what's looking solid, and where things might start to wobble a bit. Let's start with the backbone of the story. The Pacific. Right now, we're in what we'd call a weak La Niña, or edging toward neutral conditions. That might sound technical, but here's what it really means. Weak La Niñas, or neutral ENSO phases. Yep, that's short for El Niño Southern Oscillation, tend to set the stage for the most favorable winter patterns. Opposite of this, strong La Niñas can actually make winters less cooperative. So, by being weak right now, the atmosphere is giving us the green light. We're seeing some cooler than normal water stretching across the equatorial Pacific. That's classic La Niña territory. But here's where it gets interesting. There's also a warm blob lingering in the Pacific and a patch of cooler water south of Alaska. Not perfect, but overall, if you take the Pacific as a whole, the signs are promising. Think of it as the stage being set. Everything's lining up for potential winter theatrics. Now, flipping over to the Atlantic, things get even more fascinating. Sea surface temperatures are warmer than normal in the Gulf, the Caribbean, near Bermuda, and even off the East Coast. Ideally, you'd like to see some of that warmth hugging coastal Canada and Greenland. It can create blocking patterns that funnel powerful Arctic air southward. That's how cold snaps get really memorable. So when we watch these warm and cool spots in the ocean, we're not just tracking water, we're tracking how air, storms, and cold fronts might behave over the US this fall and winter. Here's a little picture for you. Imagine ridges and troughs stretching across the globe. Ridge here, trough there, ridge again. These aren't just lines on a map. They're the atmospheric pipes through which air moves. When ridges pop up outside the US, it can force Arctic air down, right into the central and eastern states. That's the kind of setup that can deliver bone-chilling cold, if everything aligns just right. Alright, let's get a little more tactical. Looking at the short-range CFS daily model, the one that gives us a sneak peek for the coming days into about a month, we're seeing a backdoor cold front pattern along the east coast setting up. While the west stays cooler, this creates a ridge in the central US, which doesn't really favor long-term cold for the east just yet. After this cool period, we're actually seeing a rebound. Warmer conditions start to creep in across the east. Think of it like a negative PNA pattern. Trough in the west, ridge in the east. Classic setup we see this time of year. Fast forward to late October, and the picture starts to shift. From around the 22nd to the 29th, seasonal models suggest warming in some areas, which could allow cooler air to settle into the East Coast and Gulf Coast for a longer stretch. Interior regions may warm up, mirroring early September's pattern, where the coasts cooled last. And yes, the farther out we go, say 30 to 45 days, we have to take it with a grain of salt. That's the nature of medium to long-range forecasting. Now, let's zoom out to the monthly picture. September held some surprises, but October is shaping up to be warmer overall, with cooler pockets out west. November follows a similar pattern. But here's the real kicker. December starts to swing into a classic positive PNA setup. That's when we could see cooler than normal air pouring into the central and eastern US, aided by that warm pocket over Hudson Bay and coastal Canada. Picture a ridge building there, funneling Arctic air straight into our backyards. January and February continue the cold theme in the east, with a few thaws in the deep south, and by March, the atmosphere starts to flip again, just like last winter, letting warmer air creep back into the east as spring approaches. Precipitation is a trickier beast. Models historically struggle more here than with temperatures. Right now, October's wettest spots are expected in the north, central, and western states. November looks similar. December through February, drier conditions in the east could be rough for areas already battling drought, though the northwest might see a bit more moisture than expected. Models aren't perfect, but they give us a roadmap to watch for trends. Even comparing models, Like the CFS versus the Canadian CANSIPS model, the story is similar. Early fall warmer in the east, cooler in the west, positive PNA dominating into December. Then the winter cold builds in northern and eastern regions. A few variations here and there, but overall, the narrative aligns with what we've been expecting. So let's fast forward to now. Here's how I see this winter shaping up. The Northern Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley. You're in for a serious showdown with cold fronts rolling through one after another. Expect below average temperatures, icy blasts straight out of Canada, and some brutal stretches of winter that could rival 2013-2014 in intensity. The Great Lakes? Lake effect snow is going to make sure you don't forget this winter anytime soon. Down south, Florida, southern and central Texas, and along the west coast, it's looking warmer than average. Don't pack away your sunscreen just yet, because while snow is unlikely, don't rule out a few rare surprises. When it comes to precipitation, this winter is going to tell a different story than 2013. I'm expecting above average rainfall and snowfall across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. Multiple storm systems could set the stage for ice storms and major winter events from December through early February. Meanwhile, drier than normal conditions are likely from the Gulf Coast all the way to the Pacific Northwest, which aligns with that slight La Niña lean. But here's where it gets really interesting. The severe weather risk. Late fall and early winter are like a second spring for tornadoes in the Southern Plains and Dixie Alley. Think Gulf moisture meets an active jet stream. It's a recipe for outbreaks, sometimes massive ones. Remember November 17th, 2013? 73 tornadoes in one day across the southeast, including multiple strong and violent twisters. That kind of risk? It's not off the table this year. The lower Mississippi River Valley, Louisiana, Arkansas, all the way back into western South Carolina, is going to be a region we watch closely. And there's a wider corridor, from southern Virginia to North Texas, Houston, San Antonio. Potential for at least a few severe events. So, what does this all look like on the map? Here's my breakdown. Red zone, Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. Think of this as the winter battlefield. Ice storms, winter storms, maybe even severe weather outbreaks. Stay alert. Orange zone, Maryland down to Florida and all along the west coast. Warmer than average, drier than average. Snow? Rare. Ice? Possible but limited. Light blue zone, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. Big snowfall coming early November into December. Skiers, rejoice. Dark blue zone, Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, parts of the Northeast. Frequent Arctic blasts, winter storms, lake effect snow. Brace yourselves. Yellow zone, Northeast from Maryland eastward. Nor'easters are likely. Keep your shovels handy. And when will it all start? First snow? Montana might see it as early as late September. Northern Plains and Upper Michigan in October. November kicks off bigger winter storms in the Midwest and Northeast. December and January, that's when the real show begins. Snow as far south as Texas, Oklahoma, Kentucky. While some regions usually don't see snow at all, don't get too comfortable. Winter has a way of surprising us. Bottom line, the winter of 2025 is shaping up to be a big, dramatic, unpredictable one. Big storms, brutal cold, nor'easters, ice, and even a chance of severe weather. It's all on the table. Make sure you're subscribed, click that bell, and stay tuned, because we're going to be covering every major storm live, with storm chasers and cameras across the country. And, in a month or two, I'll drop another update once we get a clearer picture of exactly how this ENSO pattern is settling. For now, get ready. This winter is going to make us remember why we love and fear the season.